our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, welcome, my good little buddy.
Rudy, good to see you once again in studio, man. Welcome back to Milwaukee. I'm ready to rock and roll today, man.
Buddy, this is like our Easter Monday edition. Is there such a thing?
Easter Monday?
Easter Monday.
Did you have a good Easter crew? Did you eat lots of ham and
I did
look
eat
for
lots
eggs
of
and...
No egg looking. My kids are old enough. I don't have to hide eggs.
Well, Jesus Christ Superstar.
The gifts are out there, obviously, for them in the morning.
Yeah.
No Jesus Christ Superstar. Come on, man. No.
All right, man. Well, welcome back, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. You as well. We got a really big show. And Dominic, if there is a theme of this show, it's Tom. Lots of Toms.
Of Tom.
Buddy, we are filthy with Toms around here today.
Tom.
Our friends, the Teamsters brothers from Local 200. Tom Mellonzi, he's the secretary-treasurer. Tom Bennett, he's the president. They're going to join us in a little bit, going to talk about all things union. And then coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, DNC chairman Tom Perez, another Tom.
DNC, man, bring that national convention to Milwaukee. What's the hashtag, man? I always forget.
Hashtag DNC MKE 2020.
There you go.
I'm all down for that,
see.
man.
Yeah, we'll remind Tom.
Another Tom. Tom Barrett put something in, the official first step. Milwaukee, on behalf of Milwaukee.
Submitted the application. Oh, excellent.
Whatever you got to do. He filled in the forms,
right.
Sent it off in triplicate, the long form Obama birth certificate, whatever it requires to be able to host a DNC. I believe Tom Barrett, another Tom.
Mayor from Milwaukee.
Mayor of Milwaukee, yes, in case anyone didn't know. Tom Barrett's made that first step. Not a guest on this show, though.
Not today.
Judge Rebecca Dallet.
Election time tomorrow. Dallet on the ballot, folks. That's all you need to remember. Crudy and I have made our endorsement, and she's going to join us today. Excellent.
Tom Perez at 4:15. Judge Rebecca Dallet right here on Brady Street at 4:30. And then Dominic coming up in the happy hour. Something else that's going to be on your ballots tomorrow. A question. Should we eliminate the state treasurer? And a question it raises for me.
What do you do?
What does the treasurer do precisely? Matt Adamczyk, the current state treasurer, ran on the platform of elect me and I will eliminate my own job.
Elect me and I won't do my job. I mean, that's a job that I want.
You could probably get elected to that job, Dom. If anyone could not do his job, it would be you.
I think I'm the best ever of not doing my job.
Well, Dominic, we're going to take and bring in a guest, or at least speak with the guest in the 5 o'clock hour, someone with a little more pride in their workmanship than perhaps you. His name, Jack Voight. He is the former Wisconsin state treasurer. He's going to tell me what he does, or what he did, at least when he was the Wisconsin state treasurer.
And my understanding, Jack was a Republican. So this should be an interesting conversation.
So Republicans actually see the value. Some Republicans, not all, certainly, but some Republicans actually see the value in what? Having a Wisconsin state treasurer. We'll see how that goes a little bit later in the big show. Dom, sad news over the weekend. Peg Lautenschlager passed. A friend of this show. We've had Peg on many times. The former Attorney General, the first elected female Attorney General of the state of Wisconsin. Former federal prosecutor, Western District of the state of Wisconsin. She had also been a state lawmaker and apparently lost an on-again, off-again battle with cancer. At least that's the way I saw it reported. Peg, a young woman of 62. We're going to miss her. And our condolences go out to Peg's family, especially to Josh Call. Not because Josh is any more special than the others, but we know Josh a little better than the others. Josh, of course, running for Wisconsin Attorney General in his own right this elective cycle. That's got to be a tough distraction. And, no good time to lose a parent.
Right.
But certainly not in the midst of a statewide election. I mean, you got enough on your mind, but, hopefully that family recovers, and we will miss Peg Lautenschlager.
It was amazing to see over the weekend the amount of love that she got on the social media. I saw lots of my friends expressing their thoughts about Peg Lautenschlager, and certainly we send our thoughts out as well.
So, Dominic, what are we going to talk about politically today?
We got, there's so much going on, so many great guests. I don't know if we're going to really have a whole lot of time, but, Crudy, we always seem to find time for some Trump trashing and Walker bashing.
Outstanding. Buddy, I kind of invited myself over to your house tomorrow night.
Oh, is that tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, election day in the state of Wisconsin. Could be a late one. I anticipate going, or at least, crashing the Dallet victory party. Hopefully it's a victory party. Dom, I cannot tolerate another blue party at the end of the night. So hopefully Dallet's is a victory party. That requires all of you to vote for Dallet. She's on the ballot tomorrow. But Donald Trump, he's going to have a little slumber party at the White House, my understanding, Dom.
Crudy, this guy never ceases to amaze.
He looked Pooty Poot in the eye and he said, I want to party with you, cowboy.
From the Washington Post, President Trump proposed meeting Vladimir Putin at the White House in a March phone call. The Kremlin said Monday a fresh revelation about a conversation that stirred controversy over Trump's friendly tone toward the Russian leader amid mounting tensions with the West.
Now you got a little Scott Walker going there for a moment. Tone. Go back down.
I am getting a little bit tired of getting breaking news from the Kremlin as it pertains to our president.
Why isn't the White House? Why doesn't the Trump administration? Why don't they ever get in front of any of these Russian stories? I mean, why do they let Russia break the news? Just as a media whore, you think the man would want to grab a few of the clicks.
Maybe that's how much of a bitch of Putin's he is. Continuing from the Post, after a March 20 phone call in which Trump congratulating Putin for a re-election victory in a vote widely criticized as not free and fair, Trump told reporters that the two leaders had discussed a possible meeting to discuss Syria, Ukraine, North Korea, and the arms race. He did not mention any meeting venues at that time. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said Monday that a number of potential venues, including the White House, were discussed. A Kremlin aide, Yuri Yushakov, disclosed the White House invitation in comments to Russian journalists Monday.
What were some of the other venues that were considered?
Right.
Little Russian meeting in Trump Tower.
Another
Mar-a-Lago.
Right, exactly.
Where else do you think he considered
the Seychelles
hosting
Islands? Who knows?
Pooty Poot. Dominic, does this trouble you at all? I mean, first and foremost, didn't Vladimir Putin recently poison an ex-spy that might demonstrate some link between him and the collusion that happened here in the United States during the last elective cycle?
The Russians have denied that. And why do you continue to perpetuate fake news?
But even Donald Trump has joined others in the world first. He let the others go first, and then he joined them in a very courageous fashion. But are we not dispelling out in Seattle a number of Russian diplomats? Did they not do the same to us?
Yes.
Was this little slumber party invitation pre-poisoning or post-poisoning?
Well, that would have been post. I mean, that was only a couple of weeks ago, right? Do not congratulate day that day.
Now, do you think that
was March 20th?
Do you think Donald Trump will share with Pooty Poot his beloved strawberry starburst, or do you think Putin will have a taster? Because he can't trust anyone.
I didn't know. Trump's all about the strawberry starburst.
Oh, who wasn't it? Maybe not Jeff Flake. Kevin McCarthy delivered to him a jar of red Starburst in total ass-kiss fashion.
Oh, cherry? Strawberry's kind of pink. So.
It was more officially just red Starburst.
Oh, all right.
He color codes his food. Very pro-red, that Trump. They used to be a bad thing. I remember when the Russians were the bad guys. We didn't invite them over for slumber parties, per se.
The good old days. In the March 20th call, of course, Trump congratulated Putin on his re-election to a fourth term 2 days earlier and did not raise the nerve agent attack. His national security advisors urged him to condemn the poisoning and included an instruction in his briefing book that said, "Do not congratulate." The White House on Monday sought to play down the meeting proposal, quote, as the president himself confirmed on March 20th. Hours after his call with President Putin, the two had discussed a bilateral meeting in the not-too-distant future at a number of potential venues, including the White House, Sanders said in a statement after Yushakov's comments. "We have nothing further to add at this time." Yes, don't speak until you're spoken to, Trump, White House. They're under the thumb of Vladimir Putin.
Is that what he calls a slumber party, a bilateral meeting?
At my house.
We'll make blanket forts. We'll crawl in together.
Get some big boxes. My mom will drop us off if your dad will pick us up.
Come back with us, Devil's Advocates. You're always at our house when you're listening to this fine radio show right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network. 1510 AM, Milwaukee, 1580 Madison. Come right back with us.
Welcome to my house. It's my house.
But there's nothing I can think of that I'd rather do than have Russia friendly.
In fact, the only thing your mouth is good for is being Vladimir Putin's holster.
We're going to be friends for a long, long period of time.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi, folks. This is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet-friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009. Or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your concerns. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. Homeowners Concept.
The Devil's Advocates.
Major Wisconsin media, they have wrapped our state in a propaganda machine. They push the Wisconsin Walker agenda. That's what is happening. So we have to break that. And it's going to be a lot of work, but thank God we have 1510 there to help.
Jake, thank you so much. It's going to take more than just 1510. It's going to take people like you and all you listeners.
Making radio great again.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
When you're running for Wisconsin's highest court, you better have your facts straight. The ads for Michael Skrenick are false. I know, because I'm Prosecutor Pat Kenny, and I prosecuted the case they are lying about. Judge Rebecca Dallet made sure justice was served.
As a mother of 3 daughters and a prosecutor and a judge for 20 years, I've delivered justice to victims of rape and child abuse. These attack ads are lying.
Wisconsin needs a Supreme Court justice who will serve with integrity, is fair and impartial, and who puts victims first. A justice who stands up to the special interests and protects our rights. Facts are facts, and ads for Michael Skrenick have the facts wrong. Join me and vote for Judge Rebecca Dallet on April 3rd.
Paid for by Dallet for Justice.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. The party line for calls or texts, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, as mentioned, a very Tom-centric show. We got Tom Perez. He is the chair of the Democratic National Committee at 4:15. We got Tom Mellonzi and Tom Bennett, our 2 Toms from Teamsters Local 200 in the 3 o'clock hour coming very soon. And also want to point out Judge Rebecca Dallet joining us on Brady Street, big election day tomorrow. Hope I'm partying with that cowgirl tomorrow night.
A victory party, perhaps.
It would be a nice change for any blue candidate in the state of Wisconsin. Wasn't at the Schrackner 10th Senate District
No.
special election party. I think that's the last win I recall.
Well, that one had such an impact, of course. Another reason why Governor Walker doesn't want to call any special elections. Oh, wait, then he decided to.
Dominic, I hope by November. I'm so tired of partying because it's too much winning.
So much winning. I'm going to be tired
for
of all
the
the
blue
winning.
team.
Too much winning.
Dominic, let's talk. Donald Trump. Man always tells us, what don't you ever do? Do not telegraph your next move. I mean, it's the only thing that even can somewhat explain his overall chaos theory of governance is never let him know what's coming next, right? Never let him see it coming.
Expect the unexpected.
You sort of have to with Donald Trump.
I don't want to telegraph what I'm doing or what I'm thinking.
Because he doesn't know what he's doing or what he's thinking.
But suddenly he's telegraphing what his new Syria policy to the Pooty-Poot-loving Russians?
What, against the advice of his own administration?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Dominic, according to the Associated Press, Russia's top diplomat says he is encouraged by U.S. President Donald Trump's talk of reducing the U.S. military presence in Syria.
Of course they are.
You know, telegraphing his next move. Trump said at an event in Ohio last week that the United States would be pulling out of Syria very soon, despite the fact that the State Department has been insisting for months that the U.S. needs to remain engaged there. Russian Foreign Minister, it's a Sergei Lavrov, told reporters on Monday that Moscow is concerned that the United States has been gaining a serious foothold on the east bank of the Euphrates River, despite Trump's earlier promises that the U.S. would leave when the Islamic State group is defeated. Lavrov said Trump's latest remarks show that at least he is committed to his original statements. Russia has been a key backer of Syrian President Bashar Assad, ultimately helping to turn the tide of a devastating civil war in his favor. The United States helped Kurdish-led forces to drive IS from much of northern and eastern Syria and has hundreds of troops embedded with them. What say you, Dom?
I think Trump is going against his own philosophy that he held for a so brief of time when he said he doesn't want to project or telegraph because, of course, that's exactly what he's doing. And ironic that one of the topics that Donald Trump, when he invited Putin for a slumber party at the White House, was going to be Syria.
Oh, I thought you were going to say s'mores.
Well, s'mores ain't. Well, how better to discuss Syria than over s'mores?
Absolutely.
Getting along with Russia and others is a good thing, not a bad thing. Trump on Twitter. They can help solve problems in North Korea, Syria, Ukraine, ISIS, Iran, and even the coming arms race. So lots to discuss. Maybe Syria, maybe that won't be off the table by then, because the president has decided to go against the advice of his own administration, I guess, and pull out early. And I don't know how often Trump has ever pulled out early anywhere. But what do you think Bolton's going to have to say about this? I mean, doesn't Bolton want to engage in the world? Bomb the world?
I don't know if he ever mentioned preemptive strikes against the Russians, Dom. He knows they have their own nukes.
Syria, specifically Syria. I mean, this is a pullback. If the Trump administration pulls back from our obligations, our national security interests in Syria, you think Bolton has no opinion, nothing to say about any of this?
Are we getting the oil from Syria? I mean, literally, what is our interest in Syria? I know humanitarian, certainly. Want to end a civil war, perhaps.
I guess,
but
I haven't seen the map on. I haven't seen the map on where the pipelines are getting laid or who's pulling what. I'm not entirely clear on that.
You got to think it's somebody. I mean, John Bolton still thinks Iraq was a good war, right?
And that's the guy we
and
got
wouldn't mind going after the Iranians, because that's a bad deal. It's got Obama's name on it. That's a bad deal. But war in Syria? No, Trump wants to pull out. One must assume he's consulted with his new national security advisor, just like he consulted with his last 4 national security advisors.
What, Sergey? Who are you talking about? I'm not clear. You got to be very specific when we talk about who might have the ear of Donald Trump, who might have influence with Donald Trump these days.
Do you think the boys, do you think Beavis and Butthead, do you think they'll get invited to the slumber party? How about Cushy Kushner?
Yeah,
Jared!
There's no one else in the building.
You know the one that will get invited, Ivanka. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Our friends, Tom from Teamsters 200. Mellonzi and Bennett, they're good guys. Stick around. More Devil's Advocates.
I don't want to telegraph what I'm doing or what I'm thinking.
I don't stand by anything. I just, you can take it the way you want.
I promise.
Everybody has been outplayed.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody. Did you know that Scott Walker spelled backwards is Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network? I know, I was amazed too.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Milwaukee police are asking for your help in locating an 11-year-old girl who ran away from home last Wednesday. Ramia Jarvis was last seen near 57th and Center. She is described as African-American, about 5'4", with a medium build and black hair in a ponytail. Anyone with information is asked to call Milwaukee Police at 414-935-7405. And the Bucks lost to the Nuggets in overtime last night, 128 to 125. Increasing clouds this afternoon and then rain and snow likely tonight, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, windy with highs in the upper 30s. For Wednesday, cloudy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, breezy with highs only in the low 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. This segment brought to you by Bon Jovi and the Teamsters Local 200, our good friends and sponsors. Welcome them, Dominic. It's Tom Mellonzi, Secretary Treasurer, Tom Bennett, President. And we are your brothers in Teamsterness. Welcome. Come on, turn that down.
Tommy used to work on the dock, man. That's why.
The Tommy theme. Now I get it. Now I get it. Brian, I take it all back. So, gentlemen, how you been?
All of it?
Hey, good. Well, happy opening day to you guys.
Hey, thank you to you,
Hey,
too.
we don't acknowledge fine games on other radio products. Not while the games are in progress.
But we do acknowledge the Tom and Tom, the boys of summer, bringing the beers of summer.
There you
Some
go.
Liney summer shandy out,
Teamster
man.
beer. Teamster beer, right here in Milwaukee.
Nice.
Thank you, guys.
And it tastes yummy. I'm sort of a summer shandy guy. I'm sort of a lightweight down here. Give me a lemonade beer anytime. Just warms my cockles.
Is that a Fresca?
I think it's a tab. Gentlemen, it's just heating up in the state of Wisconsin. We got all kinds of fun stuff happening. I want to get your gentleman's opinion. Teamster, something of a democratic organization. The governor of the state of Wisconsin, a little less so in the current sense.
Yes.
Didn't want to have special elections. Now it appears there will be special elections. Do the Teamsters have any interest in involving themselves, boots on the ground, door knocking, volunteerism? Can any of these special election candidates expect a little help, or at least a cold summer shandy from the Teamsters?
Well, I think absolutely. I mean, that's what we are. We are boots on the ground. Caleb just came out. I think he's got a chance.
Caleb Frostman, First Senate District.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his bio, you look at him as a professional. He's a stand-up guy. Why wouldn't we be out backing somebody like that? That's what our organization does. We're grassroots people, and we got to fight for these causes. And I'm glad the court system mandated this election, and let's get going.
How about the other candidate? Have you met Dr. Ann, as we like to call her? She's got a PhD. That doesn't scare you, does it, Tom?
No, but I mean, it's funny that, special elections, he's being forced to have special elections because he's, afraid they're going to lose them?
Right. In a representative republic, the Republican governor has to be legally forced to hold elections.
I know, right?
In very red districts overall.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm thinking, chicken, you know what, Governor.
Yeah.
So we know we got that. What about tomorrow's race? Have the Teamsters endorsed in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race?
Absolutely, we have. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, Dackett and let's see, Dan Bukashewicz, if I'm saying his name right. Tom, help me out.
Yeah, from the Mayor of Oak Creek, but Rebecca Dallet.
Rebecca Dallet.
Outstanding person. Yeah. We're supporting her 100%. Our joint council has endorsed her. Yeah. Tom and I were at an event for her the other night. Great candidate, great person. She's really stepped up. She's saying the right things, doing the right things. Her record speaks for herself, although some people want to rip her down or tear her down. That's politics, right?
Well, gentlemen, you've seen probably, if you've turned on the TV in the last 2 weeks, somebody, Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce specifically,
who claims they themselves are also a grassroots organization.
Yeah. But Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce throwing a lot of mud, throwing a lot of shade at Judge Rebecca Dallet, claiming she's soft on criminals. And hell, we've got an ad running on this station right now. The district attorney in that very case said this was a plea bargain. If we take some of these sexual abusers to trial, we re-victimize the victims. So, guys, I mean, what do you think about this whole throwing mud, dark money groups come in and they spend money and they make accusations? What do you think of that process, just as guys watching the TV?
Oh, Lordy. Well, I've heard those commercials. They're very, very egregious. And if it's a plea bargain, I mean, that's part of the process. I mean, let's face it. I mean, so she pleaded down and still had the guy go to jail. That's what you want. Get him off the street, right?
We have to educate our members about what's being thrown out there, because you're only seeing one side of it. And that's what we tell our members. Here's the other side. Here's what's going on. And I think some of the commercials that come out that Dallet's group has put out since the mudslinging, they're tremendous. They're well put. They're factual. It gets to a point where it gets frustrating when you got to make all these maneuvers to get to the truth.
Well, and the fact that we as citizens have to make determination about a 20-year judicial record predicated on one assumption, one case they pulled out of you-know-where, and they say, here's the worst we can say about her. Well, I can say lots of bad things about the Republican candidate, Skrinak. I mean, he's the one that helped gerrymander the state of Wisconsin. He's the one that helped jam through Act 10, which was a direct assault on union labor, certainly in the public sector, guys. Let me ask you, unions, are you guys ready to rally? Are you guys ready to get out there? This is a determinate year, I think, in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, hell, we could have all new voting districts by summer. This could be the craziest election season ever. How did the Teamsters factor in, boys?
Well, I think, if I can speak for a moment, I think the blue wave is
Tom Bennett speaking.
Yeah.
You know it's a Tom.
Thank you, Mike. No, the blue wave is a real thing. It's real. It's happening across the United States. West Virginia is an example. We have to continue the blue wave in Wisconsin. We can't set back. We got to tell our members, get out and vote. Get active. Get behind these candidates. Understand these candidates. Come meet them. Come touch them. Come talk to them. We met Laura Cavello the other night. She's going to be appointed judge here in Milwaukee County. She is going to be a great judge, and she's going to be a great candidate in the future. But we have to introduce our members and our members' families to these candidates. Hear them, touch them, understand them. Here's the realism of election. You've got to get out.
Get out and vote.
Well, gentlemen, and we've got our Teamsters brothers and friends from Teamsters Local 200, Tom Mellonzi, Secretary-Treasurer. Tom Bennett, you heard him most recently. He is the president. Guys, what do you think the awareness of the Supreme Court race tomorrow is? Do you think your membership know about it, and how'd you educate them? We appreciate you being here on the radio with us, but how else amongst the rank and file are you getting the word out? Hey, guys, it's an election day, guys and girls.
Well, one thing Tom and I have done recently, we've gotten our cars, went out and seen our members, talked to our members at the work sites. We've done mailings to our members. We've done email blasts to our members about Rebecca Dallet and Dan from Oak Creek, for Mayor of Oak Creek. We've done a number of things that you actually physically, it's boots on the ground. And that's where it's made it. And that's about the Democratic Party. It's about boots on the ground. And that's how this blue wave is going to continue. It's not about, everything's about money. But behind that money has got to be hard work. We don't have a lot of money, so it's the hard work. Let's get out there and get the messaging out there. We've done a number of things, postcards, and we're going to continue to do it up until tomorrow. Election day is not over until 8 o'clock tomorrow night, right?
Tom Mellonzi, you want to get...
Hopefully the party goes till late.
Yeah. We want to get your voice on this, Tom Mellonzi. Looking over the country, we see lots of teachers walking out of classrooms trying to get better deals for themselves, certainly for the students. The funding in some of these states across the country for these for education and for the students is absolutely lackluster. And we've seen a constant effort here in the state of Wisconsin, an assault on unionized and organized labor. What's your take on what the teachers are doing across the country, and how do you think that translates that spirit, if nothing else, to what can happen here in the state of Wisconsin?
Well, I like to see it because as right to work spreads through the country and bringing it right back to home, is that a lot of teachers that are still, I think they still want to work, but they retire, or when they graduate from the colleges, they don't stay here because the pay right across the border is so much more when it's not happening in that state. So to have action collectively around the country in regards to all that is awesome to see. Awesome.
Do you think that translates? Do you think that kind of motivation, this blue wave that you speak about, will that enthusiasm can maintain through just not just tomorrow, but certainly into the fall? I mean, that's a whole summer away. There's lots to go on between now and then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes. How do you keep the motivation and the enthusiasm up?
Oh boy, well, if it can stay up, the teachers could be the ones to do it because they are educators, they're communicators. That's what they do for a living. And they're very good at it. And if a segue into the students and the schools and the shootings, their message is clear as well. We're going to be voting pretty soon. So I mean, it kind of melds together both of those issues. So it's a good thing, and I think it's going to continue through the midterms.
Tom, let me ask you. You mentioned young voters, Tom Mellonzi. Let me ask you, gents, how do you get young voters involved, not just in the voting process, but also involved in the union process, involved with local Teamsters 200 or like organizations? How do you get young millennials sort of in the union movement?
You have to educate them. They don't teach it in school systems anymore. They don't talk about unions. It's bad. Don't talk about unions. They're bad for America. America was built with union labor. We got to educate people what happened in the 20s and the 30s, in the 60s. You got to talk about civil rights. Kids today in high school aren't being taught about civil rights. Civil rights and union activism go hand in hand. So there's a lot of messaging you got to talk to. You got to talk to a new member that touches the front door of one of our employers about when you touched our front door, what does that equate to dollars and cents? Dollars and cents that you don't see in your pocket, but you see in your benefits. For an example, one of our locations, when that member touches the front door, it's $14 an hour just for health and welfare and pension. They don't see that money. Today's millennials, they like to see money. You get sick once, then they understand what that benefit's all about. So you got to educate them.
Tom Bennett, once upon a time, the civil rights movement was intrinsically linked to the labor movement. How do we get minorities involved in organized labor? How do we get and keep minorities involved in this whole electoral political process? How do we keep everyone motivated?
There's a lot of great programs right here in Milwaukee, Big Step and other programs. There's a lot of awareness in Milwaukee related to that. We've got to spread that communication across the country. We see it in Chicago too, where there's a lot of awareness in our local communities about educating people, and especially millennials of different colors and different nationalities. We've got to reach out. We can't sit back and tell people how good the union is. We actually have to show them and take them by the hands and say, understand how you got here today. This is what we built for you, not for us as union representatives. This is what we built for our members. And this is why we're actually rebuilding the middle class now.
Hey, Mellonzi, do young people get it? Do they see the value? Are they starting to become educated and see the value of collectively bargaining and perhaps getting a better work site or perhaps a little better rate of wage? I mean, hell, if you're in it all by your lonesome, if you're negotiating against any multinational corporation, hell, just even a small to mid-sized employer, I mean, you're SOL without some buddies, without some collective bargaining, are you not, Tom?
Yeah, Mike, I think when they're bouncing around from job to job, it's a little different than when they were land in a location where there is a union, and they're collectively talking, and they're talking about safety, and they're talking about their rights, and they're looking at their contract, and then they go to the doctor, and it's a different, maybe a different cost that's being provided through their collective bargaining agreement, and then they talk to their friends and they go, what about you? What do you have for insurance? What do you have for pension? How much you get paid? And they start to get it when they're having interaction with their own age group who may not be getting those benefits. So they finally get it, which is good. And then you have to hope that collectively when we tell them or they tell their friends that it spreads.
Gentlemen, I know that there aren't the number of manufacturing jobs that there once were, and more kids go to college than used to go to college, a higher degree of graduates. But here's my question. It's still the working men and women of America that are delivering the food, delivering all the stuff across the roads. It's still the working men and women of America that are building damn near everything. And do we really want the cheapest, lowest common denominator labor, or do we want skilled people? I mean, there should be a place in the marketplace for skilled labor. I adore skilled labor. I never want a rookie to come out to my house. I never want a rookie out there behind the wheel of a semi driving down the highway. I want skilled people. Gentlemen, do you think the American consumer, do you think the working class people here in the state of Wisconsin, do you get that there's good jobs. You just have to be willing to work hard, and you have to be willing to join with your brothers and sisters in a union.
I think you're absolutely right. One thing that we are seeing much more of here lately with the building trades and the trades, we're doing events at schools, not only trade schools, but we're going to high schools and job fairs, showing these kids, here's what's out in the job force. You can go to college, but some of your friends are in college right now. They're not going to make $20 an hour or $17 an hour to get out of college. We can put you in an apprentice program right now, and you can earn yourself right up to scale.
Hell, go in the radio industry. You may never make that much. Tom Mellonzi, Tom Bennett, our brothers in Teamster love from Teamsters Local 200. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Quickly, give our audience the website if people would like to look into, get involved with the Teamsters Local, Tom.
www.teamsterslocal200.com.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate the sponsorship, the friendship, and the summer shandies, man. This one's
nice to see you guys.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great Monday. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, 1510 in Milwaukee, 1580 Columbus, Madison. We are Dom Crute, and more times to come.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
How about a Fresca?
We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. Educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P for ppc.org, P, the number 4, ppc.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I got to tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in 92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, if you take a little bit of herb butter and put it in the middle of a patty and just kind of mold it around there, you get magic.
I have one of my arteries right now.
How much did you say you weighed?
I'm gaining weight with my thoughts right now.
You're $3 bills and some change already, brother.
Guns Butter Economics, 414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Hey, Wisconsin, Congresswoman Gwen Moore here, and I'm encouraging you to get out and vote on Tuesday, April 3rd for Rebecca Dallet for Supreme Court. Judge Dallet has spent more than 2 decades as a prosecutor and a judge. She's been a champion for victims of human trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence, and she helps make Milwaukee safer for our children. Judge Dallet also understands the challenges of mass incarceration and racial profiling and will make our justice system smarter and more fair. I support Judge Rebecca Dallet, and so should you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Moore. I'm honored to have your support. I'm running because our Supreme Court is broken and special interests have too much power. I will bring independence and balance, and I hope to have your vote.
Vote Dallet on the ballot on Tuesday, April 3rd.
Paid for by Dallet for Justice.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Kicking ass and taking names since the Wisconsin Uprising. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio on the party line. For phone calls or texts, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to thank our Toms, Tom Mellonzi, Secretary Treasurer, Tom Bennett, President, Teamsters Local 200, good sponsors of this fine radio show and this fine radio station. And we look forward to another Tom. He is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez, going to join us in about 20 minutes, Tom, 4:15. Also, Judge Rebecca Dallet live in our Brady Street studios. And we're going to speak today in the 5 o'clock hour with the former Wisconsin State Treasurer, Jack Voight, and find out what the hell the Wisconsin Treasurer does for a living. The current one, Matt Adamczyk,
wants to get rid of the job.
He's lucky I haven't mispronounced his name, Dumbass Chuck. Adamczyk, wants to get rid of his own job. He doesn't deserve that job. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But anyways, Tom, let's get back to the teachers. They're walking out across the country. At least the third state. We saw, West Virginia teachers. Now we see Oklahoma teachers. And I'm going to read from a piece at the Washington Post. Paul Waldman. Oklahoma schools and educators have endured some of the steepest cuts in education in the last decade. reductions that are evident in dwindling supplies, aging textbooks, and pay stubs of teachers. Before last week, state lawmakers had not raised the minimum salary for teachers in a decade, making them amongst the worst paid in the nation. Monday's walkout is part of a wave of protests from educators furious over stagnant wages and cuts to education funding. Teachers in West Virginia won a 5% raise after a 9-day strike, emboldening educators across the country. Several schools in Kentucky were forced to close Friday as teachers left classrooms to head to the State House to protest school pension reform. Arizona teachers who have been protesting at the state capitol threatened to strike, demanding a 20% raise and restoration of funding cuts. The cuts in Oklahoma also had dire consequences for schools. Districts have not been able to maintain buildings, so students shiver through the winter in classrooms with faulty heating, share long outdated textbooks, and become accustomed to a rotating cast of teachers. Many school districts have moved to 4-day school weeks because they can't afford to keep the lights on for 5 days.
You wonder why people are walking out and striking?
I wonder what would have happened if the teachers in the state of Wisconsin, I mean, I know there were massive protests and many of them called in sick.
But they didn't strike.
But they didn't strike, not en masse, and I wish they would have. I mean, in retrospect, I'm sure many of them wish they would have. But we'll come back. We got Tom Perez. He is the DNC, Democratic National Committee Chair. We're going to talk to him at 4:15. And we're going to talk about Mr. Drop the Bomb Acton himself. It's time for a little Walker bashing.
Yes.
When we come back, menace to democracy, I believe a Cap Times editorial describes him. I would have worse things to say about the man. We are the Devil's Advocates. You can join us, 844-967-2789 on the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 Columbus, Madison. Come right back. Hour 2's next.
We need to let people know, you come into our schools, you're going to be dead.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. What about simply raising the age of weapons purchases to 21 years of age?
We're sending 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds over to Afghanistan, and they're dying. They ought to be able to vote. They ought to be able to have a beer, and they ought to be able to buy a gun to hunt with as well.
Are you suggesting we lower the drinking age?
No. Can't they do that now? What is the age nowadays?
It's 21, sir.
We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
Yikes.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Special reports, stock market plunge. Wall Street stocks in wild seesaw trading today. At the close, the Dow was down 459 points, hitting a low for the year. The Nasdaq lost 193 points, while the S&P dropped 59. Steve Kastenbaum on market pressures.
Another attack on Amazon from the president on Twitter, which contained some factually incorrect statements, caused the company's stock price to fall 5% during the day. It contributed greatly to the big fall in prices on Wall Street. By midday, the Dow lost more than 700 points. The last hour of trading saw a bit of a rebound. Investors were also spooked after China announced tariffs on $3 billion worth of imported U.S. goods.
Tyson Foods lost 6%. Georgetown University business professor James Angel says tomorrow's lesson plan is ready to go.
One thing we do know from history is that when we have days like this, it's a sign to buckle your seatbelt because the market's going to get a lot more volatile in the days ahead.
I'm Michael Toscano. The White House says President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have discussed having a meeting in Washington soon, maybe at the White House. Correspondent Barbara Starr is reporting that the U.S. military has been working on plans to send dozens of additional U.S. troops to northern Syria.
Just as President Trump was saying this.
We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let the other people take care of it now.
Killed in northern Syria hours after President Trump said the U.S. should get out, Army Master Sergeant Jonathan Dunbar and Sergeant Matt Tunrow of the UK, both killed in an IED blast while on a classified mission to capture or kill an ISIS operative.
The first juror has been seated in Bill Cosby's sexual assault trial. The man picked today indicated he had no knowledge of the case and wouldn't let the #MeToo movement influence his ability to be impartial. Schools in Oklahoma will be closed again tomorrow as teachers continue lobbying state lawmakers for more education funding. I'm Michael Toscano.
Crazy e-bike Lenny, where you been? We've been missing your nonsense on this radio station.
Come on, Trump is all the nonsense you need. But Crazy Lenny's e-bikes has some real sense. 2017, top-of-the-line, cold standard, 60-mile range e-bikes, liquidation price to $900. 60 miles with both pedal and throttle assist. A $2,000 e-bike for $900. This bike is great.
That's crazy.
And it's not fake news.
Go see my friend Lenny, 6017 Odana Road, Madison. Tell him the devils have consent you.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Michigan and Villanova will play tonight in college basketball's national championship game. Correspondent Clayton Nebel is in San Antonio for us, telling us Michigan comes into the NCAA tournament clincher as the underdog.
Villanova is a 7-point favorite in tonight's matchup as a 1 seed, Michigan at 3. Tonight's game marks the first time in this year's tournament that the Wolverines play a higher seed, coming out of a region with a handful of upsets. Villanova's last title came just 2 years ago in 2016. Michigan hasn't won the championship since 1989.
Yankee fans will have to wait until tomorrow for their home opener. It was supposed to happen at 1 o'clock this afternoon Eastern Time, but morning snow blanketing Yankee Stadium caused a day's postponement before they can take on the Rays. Yankee star Aaron Judge was looking forward to playing today.
It's disappointing, especially coming home. You want to get that first game in here at home in front of the fans, but just got to wait a day.
Until Tuesday at 4:05 to be exact. I'm Michael Toscano.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with a look at your headlines. A new group lobbying Wisconsin state lawmakers to relax environmental laws has strong Republican ties, according to a story in the Journal Sentinel. The Natural Resource Development Association is funded by mining companies, including a Canadian company that supported a law passed last year that overturned a moratorium on sulfide mining. Increasing clouds this afternoon and then rain and snow likely tonight, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, windy with highs in the upper 30s. For Wednesday, cloudy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, breezy with highs only in the low 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, another big hour. We got Tom Perez. He is the chair of the Democratic National Committee. He's joining us in like 8 minutes, man. We got to jump into it. Also, Judge Rebecca Dallet, as in Dallet on the ballot, Wisconsin Supreme Court judicial candidate, joins us live in studio, 4:30. But, Dom, let's do a little Walker bashing.
Yes, please.
Cap Times editorial. Scott Walker is a menace to democracy in Wisconsin. Is that like a menace to society, Dom?
I think it is. Pretty close.
When a judge ordered Governor Scott Walker to stop messing with Wisconsin democracy and other special elections to be held for a pair of vacant legislative seats, that should have been the end of the governor's lawless scheming to leave the 229,904 Wisconsinites who live in those districts unrepresented for almost a full year. I think I'd be a little better at this. It's a Monday.
Get your mouth back, man.
Everyone had figured out what Walker was up to, fearful that special elections might see Democrats elected in a historically Republican 1st Senate District and 43rd Assembly District. Now, I verified this. I thought it's the 42nd. Walker simply refused to call elections after the seats went vacant last year. Walker and his lawyers tried to make excuses for the governor's anti-democratic machinations, but Dane County Circuit Judge Josanne Reynolds dismissed them as inconsistent, incompatible, and irreconcilable. And again, a quote, to state the obvious, the judge explained, if the plaintiffs have a right to vote for their representatives, they must have an election to do so.
Crudy, remarkably, the response of Walker and his legislative allies to the judge's order was not to order the elections, which could have been held in conjunction with the regularly scheduled spring elections if Walker had acted promptly. Instead, they proposed to rewrite state statutes so that governors would no longer be required to call special elections to fill legislative vacancies, quote, as promptly as possible, unquote. When another Dane County judge ordered Walker to follow the law, the governor refused. Only when a state appellate court judge sternly informed the governor that he has an obligation to follow the law, just as do we, did Walker finally call the special elections he was legally required to call. Walker's shameful performance tells us everything we need to know about this political charlatan. But one question remains. Isn't it time for Wisconsin to elect a governor who follows the law without having to be ordered to do so?
A fine op-ed at the Cap Times, Madison, Wisconsin. this music, the Phantom Menace.
He is a menace.
Scott Walker is a menace to Wisconsin society.
And I would say the Wisconsin GOP, every Republican who thought that was a good idea, who thought that 200 and almost 30,000 of their fellow citizens of the state have no need to be represented, that they would want to change statute in order to codify their oppression, they are also just as responsible.
You know, it'd be an outstanding idea if everyone stuck around. We got a big guest. He's coming next. He's Democratic National Committee Chairman. He's Tom Perez. I think he's a friend of ours, Tom. He's Badger Tom. Another Tom. The Tom centrist show we've had recently.
Hashtag DNC MKE 2020.
More Devil's Advocates on the other side with Chair Tom Perez.
The biggest fear that I, and I think a lot of our supporters have, is the outside money.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
It's a trap!
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, Wisconsin. This is Mark Kelly, husband of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Gabby and I want to strongly urge you to vote for Judge Rebecca Dallet this Tuesday, April 3rd, in the election for Wisconsin's Supreme Court. Our family has experienced gun violence firsthand, and what we need on the bench are judges like Rebecca Dallet who understand that pain, who will enforce the law, and who won't be swayed by special interests. The NRA has endorsed Judge Dallet's opponent in hopes that he will be a rubber stamp for the corporate gun lobby's agenda.
Captain Kelly, I'm honored to have your and Gabby's support. Friends, I'm running to return independence and balance to our state's highest court, and I hope to earn your support too.
Join Gabby and me in supporting Judge Rebecca Dallet for Wisconsin's Supreme Court on April 3rd. Dallet on the ballot this Tuesday.
Paid for by Dallet for Justice.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
When they go low, we get high. Tom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we're back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. If you miss any of this fine program, please go online. You can download or listen to podcasts and interviews at domandkrut.com.
Dominic, we welcome back a fine guest. He is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee. We welcome back Tom Perez, Badger Tom Perez. Tom, how you been? Welcome back.
I'm doing well. I proudly wear my Badger outfits every day.
Nice.
You know, Tom, before we get into the serious politics, I didn't know you had all the Badger roots. I knew about the daughter at UW. Did you get married in the state, sir?
I got married on the east side of Milwaukee. I asked my wife to marry me 30 years ago, 2 months ago, in Marinette County when we were going hiking near the Nicolet National Forest. I learned how to cross-country ski in northern Wisconsin, and it is a second home to us, Milwaukee and the North Woods. So it's a pleasure always to be with you guys.
Well, Tom, I got a little hashtag. I'd like to try it out on you. DNC MKE 2020, sir. What do you think, Milwaukee for the DNC, Tom?
They are one of the cities that has expressed interest, and I'm going to make sure that the process is fair to everybody. Obviously, the new arena is going to be open and running by them, and I'm sure they will put forth a very, very credible package, and we look forward to. Frankly, I want an embarrassment of riches. I want what we call enviable dilemmas, where we've got so many good applicants that it makes our job a lot harder, and I'm confident that Milwaukee and a number of other cities are going to do just that.
Well, Tom, it's nice that the stadium will be opening up, but also last year on the east side of Milwaukee, the Devil's Advocates and WRRD opened their stations on Brady Street, Tom. So, you know, it's nice that's right up the street from the stadium.
Bring it home, Tom.
Wow, amen. Well, I stayed up all night the night before my wedding, so I went out to a lot of watering holes not too far from there. So,
Tom, you're supposed to
sleep is overnight.
You're supposed
to skip. Overrated the night before your wedding.
You're supposed to skip a night between the bachelor party and the wedding, sir.
I didn't get the memo. I wish we had done this interview 30 years ago.
Tom, got to ask you, you join us today. Your timing, not inconspicuous, in that we got a Wisconsin Supreme Court election going on tomorrow. Tom, will the DNC make an endorsement? Will you, sir, make an endorsement in our big race in Wisconsin?
Well, I'm certainly rooting for Judge Dallet because I think if she gets elected, it'll bring us within one seat of ensuring a majority of the court shares our values of equality under the law. Elections matter, and one of the most important examples of that for your viewership, for your listenership, is look in Pennsylvania. You had a state Supreme Court, and again, because people had the opportunity to really take a close look at that election, they elected justices who understood that everyone deserves a fair shake. And one of the biggest issues in Pennsylvania, like Wisconsin, was partisan gerrymandering. And as a result of a decision by that Pennsylvania Supreme Court, the Democrats this fall are going to be competing for the U.S. Congress under a fair map. And let me just give you a very quick example of why that matters. Barack Obama won Pennsylvania by 5.5 points in 2012. The 18 districts for Congress, the Democrats running in those districts won over 50% of the vote there, and they won 5 out of 18 seats because it was unfair. The partisan gerrymander that was put in place in Pennsylvania resulted in chronic unfairness for voters. And obviously in Wisconsin, you've got a similar thing. And obviously that case went to federal court in Wisconsin, so that's a difference that makes a difference. But what we have seen in state Supreme Court elections is that these elections matter. And, Judge Dallet has spent more than 20 years working in Wisconsin's courtrooms, a former prosecutor, now a judge, and she's an experienced judge who believes in, I think, what basic Wisconsinites believe in, which is fairness for everybody. And the Republican on the ballot defended Scott Walker's gerrymandering in court. So you have a really stark contrast. And I hope what happened in the recent state Senate seat, where everyone thought the Republican would win, but we pulled off an upset and beat red territory. Now we have a statewide opportunity. And I'm confident turnout will be up. We've got some boots on the ground right now in Wisconsin as we speak, because we want to make sure that the DNC is putting our best foot forward. Our new mission statement is very different from our old one. Our old mission statement was just helping to elect the president every 4 years, and our new mission statement is helping to elect Democrats and good people up and down the ballot from the school board to the Oval Office, and that includes Supreme Court races, and that's why we're investing in Wisconsin.
You're listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We got Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee, live via phone. Tom, Republicans running scared in this state. Scott Walker, ordered by 3 different judges to hold special elections, would have appealed to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I think one of his conservative friends gave him the heads up, didn't have the votes there, didn't have the votes even amongst the Republican senators here in the state of Wisconsin. Now, sort of like droopy dog, he's announced there will be special elections. Tom, does that bring the focus back to the state of Wisconsin? We're going to have a 1st Senate District race in June. We're going to have a 42nd Assembly District race in June. And Scott Walker, he's opposed to even the concept of small d democracy. I want to get your opinion, Tom.
Mm-hmm. I think you got to leave it up to the voters. When you have an open election, what are you so afraid about putting it in front of the voters? And this is, what he did was unconscionable and so anti-democratic. And I'm talking about democratic with a small d. Let the voters decide. It's clear to me why he didn't want to do that. He saw what happened in the state Senate race. He's frankly seen what's happened across the country. I'm very proud of the fact that we've been investing in races all across the country. Helped to flip 4 seats in state legislatures in Oklahoma last year, in beat red Trump territory. And we're winning because, quite simply, we field really good candidates whose values command the respect and support of the majority of folks. And that's why you see so much energy out there. People want candidates, whether it's for the state Supreme Court or whether it's for the state legislature, who understand that health care is a right for all and not a privilege for a few, and understand that voters ought to pick their representatives. Representatives shouldn't be able to pick their voters. That's exactly what the gerrymander in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and elsewhere has been doing. And that's just not fair, and that's not democratic. And that's why Democrats are winning, and that's why Republicans are running scared.
Representative government, Tom? Hell, if Republicans have to do that, they'll never stay in power. Let's get back to the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. The National Rifle Association, their political victory fund, they tweeted out on February 14th their endorsement of Judge Skrenak for the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Now, this date is notable. That, of course, was the day of the Florida Parkland shooting. The NRA PVF has not tweeted anything out. So their endorsement of Skrenak still sits at the top of their Twitter feed. What's your take? Do you think if Skrenak were to be successful that he would do the bidding of the NRA? How important is the NRA to Skrenak? We know here in the state of Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Republican Party is the single biggest donor, at least as of a week or so ago, to Skrenak's campaign. And now, of course, the NRA continues to support. How important is that in this race?
Well, it's clear that he's not going to be independent. And that's what justices are supposed to do. They're supposed to uphold basic standards of fairness and accountability. And frankly, he spent his entire career defending right-wing efforts in Wisconsin, and is, unlike his opponent, who has been a prosecutor, he's never prosecuted a case against a criminal. And frankly, he was arrested twice for blocking access to a reproductive health clinic in Madison. He's clearly outside the mainstream. He's going to be a rubber stamp for Scott Walker's agenda. And if voters believe that we need to have a counterbalance against Scott Walker, then you should be voting for Rebecca Dallet, because it's very clear that Skrenik is going to simply be that rubber stamp. And there's way too many rubber stamps in Wisconsin. That's why you've seen Act 10 get passed, and union members are having such a challenging time simply organizing. It's time to stand up for the working people, and in this great spirit of fighting Bob LaFollette, to return power to the people. And that's exactly what Rebecca Dallett's election would do, and that's what will happen in these special elections later this year in those races. It's abundantly clear why Walker didn't want to call the elections, because he knows that the wind is at the Democrats' back, and it's at our backs, because we're fighting for health care for all. We're fighting for the right to organize. We're fighting for good jobs that pay a fair wage. We're fighting for fundamentally a better life for everyone, not just a few at the top.
Folks, you're listening to Wisconsin's only resistance radio network, 1510 AM Milwaukee, 1580 AM Madison. We got a fine guest, Badger Tom Perez. He is the chair of the Democratic National Committee. Got him for a few more minutes. Tom, got to ask you about these young kids marching out there across the country. We had marchers right here in our backyard. Not only did we see thousands of kids in Madison, in Milwaukee, all around the state in different metros, but some of these kids took another 50 miles and they marched down to Speaker Paul Ryan's district, got a lot of national attention. I got to ask you, sir, Tom, will these young kids lead the way in the midterms? Can we harness this passion they feel on this gun safety issue and turn it into, millennials at the ballot box, sir?
Well, I think we can, and I think the action of the next gen folks has been nothing less than heroic. They've been standing up for basic values. They've been holding folks accountable. You look at you look at what happened down in Florida, and a number of these elected officials who had been getting A+ ratings from the NRA actually switched their vote as a result of the lobbying of young people. And I think one of the reasons why Doug Jones won in Alabama last year, and we basically ran the table in Virginia and New Jersey and elsewhere, is because young people have been coming out in force. I believe that Second Amendment freedoms and common sense violence reduction measures can coexist and thrive, and when we are fighting for those, like our young people are doing, we can win. And the most important thing we can do coming up to make sure that there are no more funerals is to get out there and vote, because all too many Republicans are still going to kowtow to the NRA. And that's why when they go low, we go vote. IWillVote.com is our new motto for 2018. We've been working with our partners across the country to make sure that people register to vote, protect the vote, and get out the vote. That's what we're about. When Democrats get out there and vote, people win and fairness prevails, whether it's common sense gun violence reduction, fair wages, health care, good education. That's what we're fighting for as a Democratic Party, and that's what we're going to keep fighting for.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up next, Judge Rebecca Dallet. She is a Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate. Tom, don't forget, hashtag DNCMKE 2020. More Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
Actually, it's pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for...
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
The Devil's Advocates.
We've got U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. Ron, in all seriousness, if this was Barack Obama, you'd be screaming, "Stormy, stormy, stormy," from the rooftops. You're too young to understand this excuse. This would be the Sergeant Schultz answer. I know nothing.
But as the chair of the HISGAC, sir, Homeland Security Governmental Affairs Committee, you could get to the bottom of this, could you not, Ron?
I see nothing. I know nothing. Making radio great again.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Hey, Batman here. Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Hoping you'll support us as we track all that dark money that's splattering your screens with mud. You can count on us to tell you who really runs Wisconsin, and it's not Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss. They're just the water boys for the Koch brothers, WMC, the NRA, and Diane Hendricks. You can find all this out at our website at wisdc.org, and while you're there, please send us a donation so we can keep after these bad guys.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Wisconsin's spring election is tomorrow. Voters will be choosing a Supreme Court justice and voting yes or no on a question to eliminate the office of state treasurer. The polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. To find out where your polling place is, go to myvote.wi.gov. Randy Bryce, who is running to replace Paul Ryan, raised over $2 million in the 3-month period that just ended. And the dam on the Milwaukee River in Estabrook Park is in the process of being demolished. The job is scheduled to be completed by May 1st. Increasing clouds this afternoon and then rain and snow likely tonight, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, windy with highs in the upper 30s. For Wednesday, cloudy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, breezy with highs only in the low 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. I want to thank our last fine guest. He's become a friend. He's Badger Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee. If I heard him correctly, he's got all sorts of Wisconsin roots. You just tweet at him.
Hell, he used to party down here on the east side, he said.
Hashtag DNC MKE 2020. Trademark Rudy. I trademarked that.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, right? You just declare it. I trademarked that.
All right, Tom, so here's the deal. Most of the time, our guests, when they come in, the best guests, they bring beer, booze, some sort of gift for the host. So this is so important to us, I would promise to even supply you this beer, perhaps a union-made Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, if you bring that wonderful event to Milwaukee. You come down here on Brady Street, we'll set you up, man.
We got to get Tom off the air, make him an offer. You can't refuse, Tom.
Yeah.
Like a case of Summer Shandy.
Oh,
that'll do it for surezies. We're expecting Judge Rebecca Dallet very soon. I know she's a busy lady. Tomorrow is Election Day in the state of Wisconsin. I hope you've made plans to vote, Dom.
Go vote. I'm going to vote. You're going to vote?
Absolutely, I'll vote.
What time? You're going to vote like first thing in the morning?
I hope so. I heard it could be stormy weather.
Oh.
And I don't mean the porn star kind.
Well, you never know.
Well, you never do know, Don, but I heard it could get a little snowy overnight. I thought it was spring. I thought it was summer with these beers. But no, apparently it's still winter, still clinging on. I'm waiting for my May flowers. I'm sick of these April snow showers.
So make the effort, regardless of the weather, get out and vote tomorrow. Of all the times that you vote, you always wonder, does my vote count? Well, you know, in these spring elections, these off-year elections, these weird elections.
Special.
Well,
this one's not
as special. But, you know, the ones where most people don't vote. This is where your vote counts even more.
We've seen differentials barely in the hundreds. I mean, some of these elections that we've seen this year, especially in districts that started out Trump by 20 and the Democrat has to hold on by the skin of their teeth, but they've won in many cases. They have won. And of course, I cannot tell you with any strong sense of clarity whether lefties like me will turn out to vote with the same sort of passion that righties have always gotten out to vote for every damn election, spring, summer, fall, winter, special.
If you don't have passion now as a voter in this state or in this country, you're never going to have it. I mean, now is the time to exercise that passion. Even if you haven't voted before, go same-day registration, get out there, experience it, do your duty, and while you're going to do it, we suggest you vote for Dallet on the ballot.
Well, that's a nice suck-up and lead-in to our next fine guest. She's Judge Rebecca Dallet. We welcome her back the day before the election. Rebecca, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Well, you've got the rare twofer. Rebecca, you've earned the endorsement of both Dom and Crute.
Oh, my gosh. How often does that happen? That's
I think Bernie Sanders is the only other candidate that earned both our votes. And you also, I don't know if you're aware, just earned the endorsement of Tom Perez, DNC chair.
I didn't know that.
Well, you should have been listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show.
I should have been. Yeah, I'm up here in Green Bay, so we don't get the Devil's Advocate up here.
Well, 1510, you might get distant signal. You'll have to try on the way back. But, Rebecca, let's get into the important stuff. Obviously, this has been a very busy time frame for you. You've had the opportunity to debate your opponent, Michael Skrinak. I want to get your impression of the debates, how you think it went for your candidacy.
I thought it went great. I felt that there's a big distinction between both of us in terms of experience, in terms of values, and the questions that were asked, the ability to actually even have that 6-minute open conversation, which was it seemed like it was going to be odd, but I think it turned out great because voters could really see the difference between he and I, that I am a candidate for the people and he is a candidate of the special interest money that is backing him, the Republican Party that's backing him, and they can hear the difference between the two of us.
Well, Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce has certainly been a big backer of Skrinak's candidacy, and in fact, they've thrown some shade your way. Rebecca, what has your impression been of the ad they've run against you, accusing you of being soft on sexual offenders? I want to give you an opportunity to respond to WMC's ad.
Well, first, and anything but soft on sexual offenders. I prosecuted them for 5 years, the worst of the worst sexual offenders in 2 counties, and as a judge have been in some of the toughest places, including a court that only heard homicide and sexual assault for 2 years and domestic violence called for court for 3.5 years. So that premise is just wrong to start with. The ad itself has a lot of falsities, but what I think is the most disturbing about all of it is that we have an ad that identifies victims, victims' families, and the victims called for the ad to be taken down. They called on Judge Skrinak to ask the ad to be taken down, and I think it is a real reflection of his moral character, his inexperience both in the courts and with victims' issues, that he did not still is not speaking out against this ad.
Well, he's standing by the ad. In fact, he's claiming it's a third-party group, and they're independent. But, of course, we know under Wisconsin campaign law, there is no independence between third-party groups and potentially these candidacies. So you clearly, Rebecca, think he should have disavowed this ad, sought it to be pulled down. You think the man should have shown some character, perhaps?
Absolutely.
Well, then let me ask you the next logical question. I have seen you running an ad that criticizes Skrenak, saying he's a little soft on crime himself. However, this is an ad that you tagged, paid for by Rebecca Dallet for Justice. Got to ask you, do you see any difference between the accusation you make against your opponent and the one a third-party group made against you?
Absolutely. So my ad is a comparison. So it spends a little bit of time on him and then time on me so people can understand the difference in our experience in the courts, with my opponent never having been a prosecutor, not having a lot of criminal justice experience. And while we do truthfully recite the sentences in two cases, our ad does not at all identify or out victims of sexual assault. Nor is it an ad that makes up facts just for purposes of making it sound like an even worse offense than it is. And that's really, I think, the big distinctions between our ad and the ad by WMC.
And Rebecca, I wanted to point out, I actually heard on our station an ad playing for your campaign. The district attorney in that case that WMC emphasizes is actually speaking out on your behalf, saying, this is a misrepresentation. I thought it was certainly effective and powerful to have the district attorney come to your support in that way.
Yes, and I'm proud of the support I have in courtrooms by district attorneys, including the one in that case, and defense attorneys and attorneys in all kinds of cases, and those are people that work in our courts. There were 2 polls that have been taken by the largest bar associations in our state. They both rank me as highly qualified and rank Judge Skrenak as unqualified. I think those are good testaments to the kinds of judges we are in our courtrooms, and that's something people should hopefully pay attention to.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Judge Rebecca Dallet, candidate for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, up for election tomorrow. Go vote and vote for Dallet on the ballot. That's what we're saying here. Judge, I want to get your opinion. Governor Walker and the Republicans here in the state of Wisconsin seeming to shy away from holding special elections as required by our statutes. Governor Walker slapped down 3 separate times in the state of Wisconsin by Wisconsin judges. I want to get your opinion. I've heard Republicans accuse some of those judges as being activist judges. Did you happen to see any of the writings? What's your thought on that, Judge?
No, and I haven't looked into it. I know that it's something I likely wouldn't hear sitting on the Supreme Court because I am aware that Eric Holder's group spent money on my campaign, and I want to take the position that we haven't had yet from justices, that I won't sit on cases where big money has been spent on my behalf. I'm still hesitant to weigh in on a case that could have some implications in front of the Supreme Court. I'll say this, though. I think when activist judge, and we had the opportunity during the debate to talk about what that means, the more conservative judges, the ones backed by the Republican Party, like my opponent, like to throw around the word activist to somehow mean liberal in a bad way, and that somehow judges that are liberal or at least have different beliefs than them are going to legislate from the bench and not follow the law. And we have all seen that is not true, that is not something limited to any particular judge. And in fact, we have a court right now that's been very activist, that I would say is the most activist court we've ever had, and they are certainly not liberal. That it just means judges that are trying to reach an end result and not following the law to do it. It can happen by any judge. And so that's something when they throw that word out, I just can't stand how it's supposed to connote something bad and it's supposed to connote liberal, when in fact we've got activist judges right now on our Supreme Court.
Well, Judge Dallet, it's easy for them to throw it around. I mean, certainly you look at the executive branch and the legislative branch as co-equal branches of government. When a judge tells you to hold an election and they take the position that that is an activist position, that we don't need elections, and that 200-some thousand people have enough representation already, I think that says a lot. Want to get your thoughts on this other one, the recusal rules as they stand now. My understanding, these rules were written specifically by Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, and now what judges, to my words here, Rebecca, don't have to recuse themselves unless they decide to. What's your interpretation as it stands now for recusal rules, and what do you think would be appropriate for a Supreme Court recusal rule to be?
Well, that is a lot of what I've been talking about throughout the campaign. It is true Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce wrote the current rule, which says a judge just has to recuse when he or she thinks they should. What that has led to is judges not recusing, like Justice Gableman, when big money was spent on their campaign and then the money was appearing in the case as a party. My opponent has refused to commit to recusal. He has had $1.3 million spent on his behalf by Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, who does have cases that come in front of our Supreme Court. He's refused to say he will recuse on those cases. I, on the other hand, have said I will recuse on cases involving Eric Holder's group, who has spent money on my campaign, if those cases come in front of us. So we need to have a hearing. We need to talk about what that rule should be so that everyone's clear, but it should involve when massive amounts of money are spent on someone's race, that person must recuse him or herself when that money is sitting in front of the judge on a case as a party in the case.
Judge Dallet, got to ask you, your opponent, Michael Skrinak, is I'm going to call him the darling of the NRA, earned their endorsement. Gabby Gifford's group now is supporting you late in your candidacy. How would this leave either of you when you win the Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice seat? How does this leave either of you in regards to gun safety issues that may come before the court? Would it require a recusal on your part? Should Skrinak recuse in a similar circumstance should he be fortunate enough to win? How do you see that issue coming down, predicated on the support each side has received?
Well, I think there's a big distinction here in this regard, too. So the NRA, first of all, is spending money on my opponent. I am not receiving money from Gabby Gifford's group, although I'm proud to have their support from those heroes, Gabby and her husband, astronaut Mark Kelly. The NRA, in order to get that endorsement, required, because I received the same letter that Michael Skrinak received, they required the person seeking the endorsement to give them a position, to fill out a position statement on their positions on issues. I refuse to do that, and I've made a no NRA money pledge. But my opponent then, I don't know what the communications were. We haven't seen all of it necessarily. And they did vow, though, then that they sent out mailings saying he vowed to protect their firearm freedom. So it appears that he has made promises to the NRA in order to get their endorsement. Gabby Gifford's group is a group that is not against guns by any means. They endorse Republicans, they endorse Democrats, they endorse nonpartisan candidates like myself. I am not anti-lawful guns. What the group is about is gun violence prevention. That is their mission, and I would hope that everyone in our community wants to prevent gun violence. And I've taken no positions on what that looks like or any positions on any issues that could come in front of the court. In fact, I'm the only candidate that was in a gun court for a year in a high-volume court where I returned guns to lawful gun owners when they had a right to have them. So I think there's a big difference between the positions we've taken and the fact that my opponent has taken, I don't know how much money, but money from the NRA.
Judge Dallet, this is probably, logistically speaking, the last time you'll have an opportunity to address our audience. I'm a big believer in the primacy effect, that people remember the beginning and the end and forget everything in the middle. So as a last opportunity, here's yours. Tell our audience why you think they should vote for you, and please be more eloquent than I was in asking that question.
Oh, thank you. So I need everybody to get out and vote tomorrow. Our courts are so important. We are the last check on the legislature and the executive branch. As you just talked about, we just saw a situation where the courts stood up to the legislature and the executive branch regarding the special elections and a voting rights issue. So our courts protect our rights. We have a court right now that's not doing that. They are doing the bidding of special interest money. My opponent is backed by that same money, backed by the NRA, backed by Pro-Life Wisconsin, anti-marriage equality groups, backed by our biggest business lobby in the state, who and has said he will not step off cases involving those groups that are backing him. He actually blocked access to women's health care, legal right to health care twice, and was arrested. And we all need to be worried about our rights if we have someone like that on our Supreme Court. I am running after 20 years plus working in our courts every day for our rights, to stand up for our rights, working to protect our community, to stand up for the vulnerable. And I've got the experience we need working in those courts every day as a judge for the last 10 years, and the values we hold dear in Wisconsin, the groups backing me, Fair Wisconsin, Planned Parenthood, many other groups and people throughout the state and now throughout the nation, which I'm really proud of, and just wanting to make sure that our rights are protected in our most important place, the courts. So I hope everyone gets out to vote tomorrow. They vote Dallet on the ballot on April 3rd, and encourage everyone you know to get out and vote.
Judge Rebecca Dallet, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you at the victory celebration tomorrow night. Thank you, Judge Dallet. Good luck.
I hope you stop by.
Thank you, Judge.
So much.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates, going to break, coming back. Hey, it was her last opportunity. We let her go a little bit long. Didn't cut her off.
Sorry, Brian.
No judicial activism over there, Fancy Brian. More of us. More of you on the phones, perhaps, 844-967-2789.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely.
Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
13?
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. He realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty 608-284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate, and they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Phone lines are open. You can join us. Man, it's been a busy day. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, what's your gut telling you about the Wisconsin Supreme Court race? We think our most recent guest, Judge Rebecca Dallet, we think she is the right choice on your ballot tomorrow.
My opinion is if I were in front of a judge with a case, I would want her as my judge. I just would. And we reached out to Skronek's campaign.
Yeah,
they never got back to us. Never
blew us off.
No, of course. I mean, they're going to hide the guy as much as they can. They don't want to have a discussion about issues in Act 10 and his involvement in redistricting and these kinds of things. So, no, as a human being,
his hacky croniness,
he does not appeal to me. No, Dallet all day long, no question. Now, will she win? Hopefully. I remain hopeful. Hell, I want to have a party tomorrow, Crudy.
I will be crying myself to sleep on your futon if Judge Dallet does not win.
Don't make Crudy cry. Go vote for Dallet.
Dallet on the ballot. Devil's Advocates on the radio. Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network, 1510 AM, 1580 AM. More of us coming back. The happy hour. It starts right now.
There's no crying.
How about a Fresca?
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate. And they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Special report, stock market plunge. Wall Street has kicked off the second quarter with steep losses.
The moment trading started for the day, stock prices began to fall, and they never looked back. By mid-afternoon, the drop on the Dow Jones Industrial Average was more than 700 points. Investors reacted to news that China was instituting tariffs on $3 billion worth of American imports, including pork, nuts and fruit, and scrap aluminum. It's a fraction of the tariffs the White House is imposing on Chinese manufactured goods, but it reignited fear of a trade war. Also, Amazon's stock price fell 5% during the day after President Trump once again singled out the company for attack on Twitter. I'm Steve Kastenbaum.
Wall Street's so-called fear index, which measures volatility in the stock market, rose 26% in intraday trading. The Nasdaq is in correction territory and is negative for 2018. On Wall Street, the Dow down 459, the S&P off 59. I'm Ann Cates. Thousands of teachers in Oklahoma have walked off the job, demanding pay raises and pension protections. Jason Lytle is one of the educators on strike.
This is almost like a Hail Mary pass to say, look, man, this entire system, this entire educational system has been neglected for too long. This is only my second year teaching.
Applications for disaster relief have soared in California. Correspondent Jim Roop.
The amount of property claims filed from the devastating wildfires across California last year totaled a little more than $12.3 billion. Add to that the nearly $500 million in claims filed in the wake of the mudslide in Montecito. That brings the claims to just over $12.7 billion. Insurance Commissioner Dave Jones says the mudslide counts in those figures because the mudslides happened due to the wildfires.
The first juror has been seated in Bill Cosby's sexual assault retrial in suburban Philadelphia. He is accused of molesting a woman in 2004. I'm Ann Cates.
Hello, I'm State Senator LaTanya Johnson. Making sure Wisconsin residents continue to have equal and fair access to voting is very important to me. Here are some key things you should know. Wisconsin requires a photo ID, and chances are you already have what you need to vote. A Wisconsin DMV-issued driver's license. You can use this even if it's revoked or suspended. A Wisconsin DMV-issued identification card. A military ID issued by the U.S. Uniformed Services, or a U.S. passport book or card. You can use these items even if they're expired, as long as the expiration date is after the most recent general election held on November 8, 2016. For more information about registering to vote, please visit myvote.wi.gov or call the Wisconsin Election Commission Help Desk at 608-261-2028. We won't be taken for granted.
This message was brought to you by WRRD 1510 AM.
A new Indiana law says public schools can keep teaching cursive if local officials decide it's the right thing to do.
As more and more people rely on keyboards, cursive writing has been considered a less essential life skill. In 2011, Indiana made cursive lessons optional. And now, if school boards want it back in the curriculum, there's a law to protect that option, too. A Republican state senator, Jean Lysing, has tried for the last 7 years to make cursive instruction a requirement. Her bill failed again, but she tells the Times of Northwest Indiana this new law is a small step toward codifying an important skill. I'm Jan Johnson.
Netflix is looking for a few good binge watchers. Netflix is hiring people to fill editorial analyst jobs. They'll be compensated to watch, rate, and categorize original content and imported programming and must be able to stick to tight deadlines. I'm Ann Cates.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. What about simply raising the age of weapons purchases to 21 years of age?
We're sending 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds over to Afghanistan, and they're dying. They ought to be able to vote. They ought to be able to have a beer, and they ought to be able to buy a gun to hunt with as well.
Are you suggesting we lower the drinking age?
No. Can't they do that now? What is the age nowadays?
It's 21, sir.
We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
Yikes.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Milwaukee police are asking for your help in locating an 11-year-old girl who ran away from home last Wednesday. Ramia Jarvis was last seen near 57th and Center. She is described as African-American, about 5'4", with a medium build and black hair in a ponytail. Anyone with information is asked to call Milwaukee Police at 414-935-7405. And the Bucks lost to the Nuggets in overtime last night, 128-125. Increasing clouds this afternoon and then rain and snow likely tonight, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, windy with highs in the upper 30s. For Wednesday, cloudy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, breezy with highs only in the low 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour. It's the Monday Easter edition. Some know this day is opening day, Dom. Brewers blew it. Oh, so much for the undefeated season.
I'm glad I didn't go.
8-4, they lost to the St. Louis Cardinals. Often end up on the wrong side of the St. Louis Cardinals.
You know, I went to St. Louis a couple weekends ago. It's a fine little town, but I'm not fond of their baseball team.
I don't even know you anymore. Why would you go there?
Why not? Never been to the Arch, man. Had to go check it out.
You can see it on a postcard, man. You don't have to drive down to St. Louis for an Arch.
What kind of living is that?
Did you go up in the elevator?
Yeah. A tram, actually.
Tram.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Sort of like a Six Flags ride? You hang out on the outside of the...
Oh, no, it's on the inside. It's all on the inside. They have...
Like an elevator shaft-ish?
No, it's literally like a tram. You have to duck in. You would not like it. If you don't like small, confined spaces, you would not like going up into the St. Louis Arch.
You'd make a fine miner yourself.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. No, but they have, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 of these trams, and you get maybe 5 or 6 people in per, and you duck in, and you close it closes on you, and everyone... You go up, and as you go up and arch around, it adjusts for, because otherwise you'd fall out, right? So it's quite amazing. It was a lot of fun, but, to hell with the Cardinals.
To hell with you. Still not done with this big show. Dom, we got Jack Voight, a former Wisconsin State Treasurer. He's going to join us at 5:30. We're going to ask the oh-so-important question. What is it that you did down at the office when you used to go down there.
What would you say you do here?
So that will come up at the 5:30 part, the bottom of the happy hour today, Dom. And we are always open to your calls, 844-967-2789. But want to talk a little media.
Hey, we're in media.
We are in media.
Look, listen to us. We're in media.
I hear we are the greatest radio show that media has ever produced.
I hear it every single day. Some people say.
Some people do. We often say that, right? We are amongst the people saying how
I'm not
cool
lying.
we are.
Just ask me.
Yes. Dominic, Sinclair Broadcasting. Now, this used to be small little TV station group. Used to be a cap, couldn't own, more than 12
There were restrictions
stations
on
around the
media.
nation.
Yeah, right.
Now the FCC, and fine human beings that they are, as long as they're looking at my licensure, I like them, but the FCC is now said Wild Wild West. Own whatever you want Sinclair Broadcast. And Sinclair, like every other corporate entity, they've got their own motives, Dom, and it's not just profit in this case. It's also seemingly a political agenda, and their political agenda is the political agenda of the right, of the Trump, only they pretend to be, local news outfits.
Fair and balanced?
I'm not clear that they don't think that they are the next Fox News. Only Fox is on your cable vision, and Sinclair will be on your regular television.
On broadcast.
In about 75% of the media markets in America, including right here in Milwaukee.
Really?
Fox 6 is a Sinclair station.
It is right now, or it
will be through the transition of the WGN, the purchase.
They're trying to buy Tribune.
Yes.
That's a scary thought.
Something to look forward to, Milwaukee.
Well, so what's the big deal, right? So there's, less and less players in media. Crudy, who cares? So what? It's just the news.
Right-wing talk radio, it can dominate in every marketplace, courtesy of a bankrupt corporation of billion in debt.
20 billion.
About 850 radio stations. People keep asking me, hey, Crudy, what do you think is going to happen to Heartless Radio? Do you think they'll break it up? And I've seen no indication that they will.
No.
I think they're going to come out the other side, at least on the current trajectory, just a little stronger.
Stick it to the bondholders.
Stick it to the creditors. Yeah. Stick it to anyone dumb enough to ever invest in their debt. Yet they get to keep all their stations. They get to keep their monopoly, effectively, a national monopoly. They, have 6 stations in basically every media market in America, everyone worth being in. Madison, Wisconsin, the 100 media market. They got 6 stations there. Milwaukee, the number 41 media market. They got 6 stations here. You look anywhere in America, and you want to know what's wrong with radio? It starts with Heartless Radio. That is absolutely what is wrong with radio, because radio is all about serving your local community, and nothing about Heartless Radio is about serving your local community. Maybe your bottom line. Got to make some money. Got to keep the debtors at bay when you're in bankruptcy court.
Well, you got to sell a demographic, man. You got to sell some ears. That's what it's all about.
All they do is consolidate. I mean, they got morning guys out of New York. They got afternoon guys out of L.A. And you know what they stopped doing? They stopped giving a damn about their local community. And sure, I mean, I get it. There is some profitability. Hell, they're doing quite well in the ratings right here, at least the righty-whitey talk station across the street.
And some of those larger markets, those stations, cash flow really, really well. It's just that, they took on $20 billion in debt, and that's a lot to service.
So why doesn't Heartless Radio have to sell off even the losing stations? They can't all be making money, right? Or the company wouldn't be hemorrhaging cash. They must be losing on some of the stations. Why don't they have to sell those?
I don't know.
Sell
bankruptcy. We'll see what happens.
Sell the dead weight. Sell it off. Because what could happen is you might actually see the breakup of the media monopoly. But instead, that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing the embrace of the media monopoly by the very FCC that's supposed to regulate it. And Sinclair Broadcast might be worse than Heartless Radio eventually, Dom. Because there is more credibility placed with the local news.
Well, there was.
than any other operation, certainly more than New York Times, Washington Post, Fox News. There is more credibility given to local news than any other source of information, my understanding.
You might think
according to
that.
surveys.
You might think that.
It should be the Devil's Advocates radio show right here on
course.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. That's what the smart people tune into.
Well, and I get it, and I guess, with Sinclair and what they do with the local anchors is that strikes exactly what you're saying. It connects with the local market.
They do seem like local editorials. They make their local anchors read these editorials, and it seems like, well, this must be what our local market people think, right? Only it's not. It's propaganda to the masses, Dom.
Here's one from I think this is the New Yorker. News anchors reciting Sinclair propaganda is even more terrifying in unison. Over the last week or so, local television news anchors across the country have joined together to paradoxically warn viewers that the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. The identical, seemingly earnest editorial messages paid lip service to the importance of fact-checking and unbiased reporting, but they also complained about false news and fake stories. If that seems to echo the rhetoric of President Trump, it's probably because the statement was written by one of his allies. The anchors were forced to read the so-called journalistic responsibility messages word for word by their employer, the conservative-leading Sinclair Broadcast Group, the largest owner of television stations in the country. The features were one of Sinclair's now infamous must-run segments, consisting of conservative commentary that every Sinclair-owned station is required to air. Think Progress rounded up many of the fake story segments for a chilling video on Friday, but Deadspin's Timothy Burke published a much more terrifying version on Saturday, which at one point shows 30 of the segments synced up in unison. Crudy, we'll get to that, but we have a copy of the script here. I think we should do it. I mean, we haven't practiced this, so you can be person A, and I'll be person B. You want to roll with this?
Sure, man. Why not?
Here's Sinclair's propaganda as read to you by Dominic Crute. Go ahead, man.
Hi, I'm Mike Crute.
And I'm Dominic Salvia. Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Wisconsin communities. We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that WRRD News produces.
But we're concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country, the sharing of biased and false news that has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories that just aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push, and Dom, this is unbelievable to me, their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to a democracy.
At WRRD, it is our responsibility to pursue and report the truth. We understand truth is neither politically left or right. Our commitment to factual reporting is the foundation of our credibility now more than ever.
Political truth really is more left than right at this point, though, isn't it?
These days, yes.
Let me read on. I'm falling out of character
Come on,
here.
Man.
But we are human, and sometimes our reporting might fall short, and our reading allowing. If you believe our coverage is unfair, please reach out to us by going to newstalk1510am.com and clicking on don't comment here. No, your comment's welcome. You can throw it on the Facebook and the Newstalk 1510 AM page. We're trying to follow the script, but theirs is slightly different. We value your comments. We will respond back to you if we are not entirely busy.
We work very hard to seek the truth and strive to be fair, balanced, and factual. We consider it our honor, our privilege to responsibly deliver the news every day.
Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your feedback as long as it's entirely positive.
Now, here is Deadspin's version of this. Again, they took 30 of these segments in unison. It's kind of chopped up. We'll see how it plays on radio, just to give you an idea how creepy this really is. Brian, if you're ready, cut number one.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our
greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
You know how you'd have known if I was one of the local anchors?
You would have said it right?
I'd have stumbled on the words. I feel quite confident I would not have gotten them right.
Wow.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates, bringing you nothing but all the news you need.
That propaganda.
Propaganda, my ass.
Others. We're identifying the propaganda, not our propaganda.
I thought you meant the alternative facts that you like to lay on the people.
Oh, come on, man. Lay it on me. I don't talk in alternative facts.
I heard you and Kellyanne Conway were the actual leakers.
I only speak the truth, man. I have a very poor memory. That's why I speak the truth. I don't want to... It takes so much effort to remember what lies were told.
Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. We'll never lie to you. Unless they're little white lies like Hope Hicks has to tell for the president. We'll take a few of your calls before our next fine guest, though. The phone lines, the text lines are open. 844-967-2789. More Devil's Advocates on the other side.
Conquered, if you will, by a master race of giant space ants. It's difficult to tell from this vantage point whether they will consume the captive Earthmen or merely enslave them. One thing is for certain, there is no stopping them. The ants will soon be here. And I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords. I'd like to remind them that as a trusted TV personality, I can be helpful in rounding up others to toil in their underground sugar caves.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that. Cool! That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities. I didn't know it could do that! Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, so relevant they have 1 foot in tomorrow.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Let's get to some phone calls before our next guest. Jake from Milwaukee, you're up. Thanks for calling, Jake. What do you got today? Hello, Jake. You're on the air.
Oh, hey, sorry about that. Sorry, I was doing some domestic chores. There's one thing, and I've heard this said from right-wingers, Sykes and Belling, all that other stuff, that you have a partisanship, an opinion, and you don't tell anybody what it is, but yet that's how they call the liberal media, which has been a joke. So here you have Sinclair that's doing the same exact thing that they hate, and they're totally right-wing. I mean, the owner is right-wing. We all know that. But instead they lie. So I would like Sinclair Media and all their affiliates in Milwaukee, which is Channel 18, Channel 24, and Fox 6, to come out and say, hey, we're being forced to read this, and this is because they want us to be Republican. Of course, those people never say it because they're afraid to lose their jobs.
Right.
So all you right-wingers who hate communism, you're a bunch of commies, basically. So if you support this, you're a communist, because this is exactly what it is.
Jake, that's old news, man. Communism was bad, during Reagan's era. Today, though, Trump, he embraces what was the USSR. Now, him and Pooty, they're going to have a slumber party at the White House.
You're not supposed to do that? Invite the communist dictator over for a little slumber party?
Maybe in the interest of peace, but not when he's your master.
Dominic, in the interest of clarity, we're going to have Jack Voight. He is the former Wisconsin State Treasurer. He's joining us next live via phone, and Jack's going to tell us, what do you do in that job? Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. This question will be on the quiz tomorrow at your polling place.
We're like the stupid people.
When you're running for Wisconsin's highest court, you better have your facts straight. The ads for Michael Skrenik are false. I know, because I'm Prosecutor Pat Kenny, and I prosecuted the case they are lying about. Judge Rebecca Dallet made sure justice was served.
As a mother of 3 daughters and a prosecutor and a judge for 20 years, I've delivered justice to victims of rape and child abuse. These attack ads are lying.
Wisconsin needs a Supreme Court justice who will serve with integrity, is fair and impartial, and who puts victims first. A justice who stands up to the special interests and protects our rights. Facts are facts, and ads for Michael Skrenik have the facts wrong. Join me and vote for Judge Rebecca Dallet on April 3rd.
Paid for by Dallet for Justice.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Believe me, there is no collusion. Believe me.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies in the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And A.G. Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org. P4ppc.org.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. And I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with a look at your headlines. A new group lobbying Wisconsin state lawmakers to relax environmental laws has strong Republican ties, according to a story in the Journal Sentinel. The Natural Resource Development Association is funded by mining companies, including a Canadian company that supported a law passed last year that overturned a moratorium on sulfide mining. Increasing clouds this afternoon and then rain and snow likely tonight, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, windy with highs in the upper 30s. For Wednesday, cloudy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, breezy with highs only in the low 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Percent of the time, they're right every time. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. The happy hour continues right now. Dom, we got a fine guest. He joins us live via phone. His name, Jack Voight. He is the former Wisconsin State Treasurer. Jack, welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show.
I appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
Yeah, thank you, Jack.
Well, Jack, sorry you couldn't be here in person. We hear some bad weather perhaps on the way.
It was.
But, Jack, let me ask you, first and foremost, we know that there is a question on tomorrow's statewide ballot. The question is whether or not the state treasurer should be eliminated as a position. Let's start with the easy yes or no question. Jack, do you think the position should be eliminated?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so now, if you'd be so kind as to do my homework for me, Jack, what does the state treasurer do, sir? At least historically speaking, what did you do when you held that position?
Well, okay. I was elected in 1994 and served from 1995 to 2007. And when I ran for the office, I really felt there should be, a voice, a fiscal voice, and checks and balances in state government. I wasn't intended to be under anybody's control, especially the governor. And when I was elected, I guess the first or second week in office, Governor Thompson said, well, we'll make Jack as part of my administration. And even WBBM in Chicago even called me on that matter. And I said, well, wait a minute here. I was elected by the citizens of this state to represent their fiscal viewpoints and be a watchdog. And I wasn't going to be anybody's servant, basically, of the executive branch. And matter of fact, I responded by saying, well, I just got elected. I'm in office now, and I feel like I'm back in Vietnam. And got my bags even not unpacked yet. I'm being shot at already. And so that's where I was coming from the first couple of weeks in office. And so we had a little tussle with the budget, and my good friends David Prosser and Mike Ellis felt that there should be separation of duties and between the executive branch and legislative branch and the state treasurer's office. It's always been that way. It's an intent by our framers of our Constitution specifically decided that's what the treasurer should be doing, separate and apart from the executive and legislative branches of government. And so even about a year and a half or 2 years later, then Governor Thompson felt I've done a pretty good job, and then he even transferred the college savings program that was deeply in debt, and I reformed that. And after a period of about 4 or 5 years, we increased the investments from $10 million to over $2 billion, and paid off the $1 million taxpayer loan, and had $5 million in reserves for future marketing of that program for college savings. So, every program that I had in the office became a user program. If the program cannot be funded by user fees, I'd say get rid of it. Well, anyway, over the period of time, every program became a profit center for the state treasurer's office on behalf of the taxpayers. So I don't know who was trying to, I think there has been intentional intent by both the governor and as well as the legislature, as well as by the last two treasurers, to get rid of the office because they didn't want to take their oath of office seriously and to follow the founders of our Constitution.
Now, Jack, when you talk about being a watchdog for, fiduciary or at least fiscal responsibility, what sort of powers of enforcement was, granted to the Wisconsin State Treasurer?
Well, you have ways of getting that done. For example, when I was treasurer, I felt there was some problems concerning unclaimed property, especially for different corporations were not submitting their proper forms for reporting unclaimed property to the state treasurer's office. And it came to the point where we would do third-party audits of businesses that are supposed to be on a timely basis, submit reports that we felt they should be reporting. Specifically, for example, Menards Construction Company. Menards, we were to the point of suing them because we did a third-party audit. I believe it was close to $5 million. We felt they owed the state of Wisconsin of unclaimed property for people that have gift certificates and things of that nature. And we compromised that. I think it was $3.5 to $4 million. Finally, Menards coughed that money up on behalf of the owners of this property. So we would use the Attorney General's office, or I would use another outside legal firm to sue on behalf of the taxpayers. I had that opportunity to do that. And so you don't become a fiscal watchdog, you also become involved in the process of treating everybody fairly in Wisconsin. And that's, again, there's another example where I felt I fought on behalf of that little guy.
Jack, is your background in accounting well, let me step beyond your resume, sir. Yeah. Do you believe generally accepting accounting principles should be the foundation of the math we do here as a government in the state of Wisconsin?
I really do. GAAP accounting is very important, but the state of Wisconsin doesn't follow that. And again, they claim that it can't be done because the school districts have a different accounting system and can't be in line with the state budgets. And so, but there can be ways, I think, to get GAAP accounting accountable in our state. But that's another whole matter. I mean, that's been fought over by different politicians. How do we reconcile? How do we provide reports of proper accounting of our taxes?
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Jack Voight, he's the former Wisconsin State Treasurer, and we're talking about this position and whether or not it should remain here in the state of Wisconsin. Jack, you mentioned the tussle that you had with the budget when you were in that role. What role specifically did does or did this position play in formulating that budget?
Not too much, other than the fact it was more of a watchdog. I mean, I would make comments on different things. For example, when Scott McCallum was the governor and we had a settlement with the tobacco companies of $5.9 billion. And, boy, that was a tussle in itself because McCallum had over a couple $1 billion of money that he couldn't find to shore up his budget, and he didn't do the due diligence of cutting spending. And so he decided to cash in the $5.9 billion tobacco settlement money for a lump sum payment of $1 billion. Well, sure, that helped his budget, but the following year, 2 years later, that budget shortfall was still there, and Jim Doyle took over that. He had a problem also regarding that shortfall. And so I advocated for a different plan. I said, cut spending, Scott, and find other ways to cut your budget. And today, even today's budget, the state budget, we would still be getting over $300 million of tobacco settlement money that could be used for the budget at this time. But, of course, that was being short-sighted, I believe, is myopic view of accounting and as well as budgeting. You don't take a big settlement like that and cash it in on a lump sum payment for a short-term gain.
Jack, what's been your impression of this role since you left? Do you think that the role of treasurer, since you're leaving that position, has served the citizens of the state of Wisconsin, that going up to the current holder of that position and advocating for the dissolution of this position?
Well, it's a sorry situation, I'm sorry to say, because I think Don Marie Sass, who came after me, just barely beat me by 7,000 votes out of 2.1 million votes. Many Democrats felt I did a good job and I should have been reelected, but it was a tsunami against Republicans at that particular time in 2006. And then Dawn, which is more interested in cutting her grass than working at the office, but I think also she's probably underserved by, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, just look at there was a report on that. By the way, the point was that I think she was underserved by Jim Doyle, gave her people in her office that didn't know how to handle people in performing the duties of that office, And then we had two other treasurers that advocated for the transfer of duties or get rid of the office, and the Schuler became the treasurer after her. And when he advocated for that, he discovered, well, gosh, after being in office, this is an important office after all. And he retracted his statement by saying, "Oh, unclaimed property is a vital program. We should retain that." And then, of course, Adamczyk was a staffer to, I think, Tyler August and Leo Buchmuir, I think, and both of those rascals, they think any dime they could save it would be important. But I think they forgot that the treasurer was an important office by the founders of our Constitution, that there should be separation and apart from the legislative as well as the executive branch. So it was intentionally, over a period of the last 8 or 10 years, it was intentionally done by the treasurers to not do their duty under their oath of office and transfer those duties to the executive branch. They welcome in open arms to do so, and they didn't stand up for what the purpose of their position was. And it's now a known fact that, Damchek, who could give a damn about taxpayers, he's getting a salary of $70,000 to $90,000 a year and serving on one board for less than 40 hours for the entire year. So he's really the highest paid hourly wage employee in the state government.
Oh,
and if he was really, it's 40 hours basically is what he's spending, and making that kind of salary with plus benefits, and it's unconscionable. But he's saying, "Well, I'll give back a $10,000." Well, he should have fired himself the day he got elected, or really, I mean, I'm telling you that just my own personal viewpoint. I'd like to debate the guy, saying, "Are you really serious, Mr. Damchek, about taking that salary without doing anything?" To my point of view is, sure, he fired people or transferred through people to the Department of Revenue for unclaimed property, and he just there occasionally. Nobody's running for the representative seat in the Milwaukee area there, I guess, and he doesn't want to be the treasurer anymore. He's never been the treasurer really to speak of. He just pretended to be the treasurer and taking the salary. And it's sad that it has digressed to that point of view.
Well, Jack Voight, former Wisconsin state treasurer, let's not forget Scott Walker was governing about 15 minutes a day while he was running for president. Perhaps he set an example for Mr. Adamczyk. Let me ask you, I hear the governor quite a bit bragging about the rainy day fund the state of Wisconsin has. From your perspective, is it adequate to backstop a true rainy day? And inevitably, as you know, Jack, there's always another rainy day on the horizon.
Absolutely. The economy dictates the shortfalls or surpluses depending upon our economy, and we could have a budget shortfall if the economy goes down the tubes, and therefore we can't really predict really what the rainy day is. If there's really a good rainy day fund.
Jack, I got to ask you, man, you sound like a bleeding heart liberal. I read some of your resume.
No, I'm a conservative. I am a conservative.
Well,
I really am, but
I believe you, Jack. Please do tell more, sir.
Pardon me?
Well, I said do tell more. That was my point. I'm trying to get your goat a little bit here, Jack, because I know that you're historically a Republican, right?
I am a Republican from day one, but the point is that I stand up for the little guy, first of all. I don't know when's the last time the Republicans would say to eliminate an office. We never, in the past, as Republicans, want to concentrate power in the executive branch. That's an oxymoron. I mean, really, why do we want to get rid of an office that should be part of our Constitution? It's the principles that we should be standing up for. And I don't care. No governor, no politician or political party should be above our state constitution. And that's what's happening here. The concentration of power. It's all about the money.
Jack, talking about money, I got to ask you the $4.5 billion question. As the former Wisconsin state treasurer, what do you think about our 25-year-to-life commitment given cash to a foreign corporation? I reference Foxconn, sir.
Well, to me, it is a little bit risky. And it's all predicated upon a lot of things. I haven't taken that issue seriously. I mean, some people say, "How are we going to get 13,000 employees to that plant?" Now we probably need the rail system from Madison to Milwaukee or Milwaukee up there. How are we going to get those people into that labor force? Second of all, what is the infrastructure going to cost to do so? I have some real reservations, and up in our neck of the woods where I live in Appleton, I think we should be helping and protecting our own businesses like Kimberly-Clark, make certain that they stay here in Wisconsin. And are we going to give a subsidy to those people equivalent to what we're giving to Taiwan or whatever, some Chinese group that comes in here and sell us a great scheme of profitability and everything else? And I hope it works. But again, do they really have a proven track record in our country?
Jack Voight, former Wisconsin State Treasurer. We got like 1 minute left, Jack. Any final thoughts, again, on the referendum, on the Wisconsin ballot tomorrow? Should we eliminate the Wisconsin State Treasurer? Your final thoughts, Jack.
My final thought is this. There are a lot of consequences to this referendum if it passes. We don't need the lieutenant governor to replace the treasurer on the Public Lands Commission. We don't. How often do you see where all corporations, organizations, political campaigns have a treasurer? Yet we think the governor should be the CEO and the CFO of our state. I don't believe that should be the case, and the governor should not be signing our checks. Period.
Jack Voight.
Vote no on tomorrow.
Sorry to interrupt, Jack. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Devil's Advocates, Wisconsin's former state treasurer. We appreciate your insights. More of us coming back on the other side. The phone line's open, toll-free. Any good fiduciary would like that. It's free, Dom. Free to the caller, 844-967-2789.
They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion.
Having a great time.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Crazy e-bike Lenny, where you been? We've been missing your nonsense on this radio station.
Come on, Trump is all the nonsense you need, but Crazy Lenny's e-bikes has some real sense. 2017 top-of-the-line, gold standard, 60-mile range e-bikes, liquidation price to $900. 60 miles with both pedal and throttle assist. A $2,000 e-bike for $900. This bike is great.
That's crazy.
And it's not fake news.
Go see my friend Lenny, 6017 Odana Road, Madison. Tell him the Devil's Advocate sent you.
promises made.
Have you paid into a pension plan or are currently paying into a pension? Join the Wisconsin Committee to Protect Pensions Saturday, April 21st for an update from Washington, D.C. and the first Special Select Committee. The meeting is at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield, Wisconsin at 10 a.m. A promise is a promise is a promise. This is an issue that affects everyone. Active workers, retirees, spouses, and veterans are encouraged to attend Saturday, April 21st at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield at 10 a.m. Meetings are also taking place in Sheboygan, Endeavor, Wausau, and Green Bay. Go to the Wisconsin-Milwaukee Southeast Committee to Protect Pensions Facebook page to learn more. Join us Saturday, April 21st, 10 a.m., the American Legion Post in Brookfield. It's not their money, it's yours.
We were wrong. They stole our pensions.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for nasty women everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day, 844-967-2789.
Buddy, maybe I should have held off on those animal crackers till after the show. Got some crumbs in my throat. I want to thank our last fine guest, the former Wisconsin State Treasurer, not a bleeding heart liberal, Jack Voight. I like Jack. He says, vote no. Yes, Treasurer, vote no on the referendum. You have your marching orders. Dallet on the ballot, vote no on the Treasurer. What else can we do for you other than take your fine phone calls? Let's get to Wisco, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, I'm doing okay. Afternoon, Devils.
Hey, man.
Hey, this was a good show to start the week. I hope you can keep this up all week. It's a tall order to...
Ye of little faith.
Of course. Come on, man.
It gets better
warmed up
every day. Paul, I cannot believe we're on like show 3,000 in each successive show. Better than the last one.
Just ask us.
I gotta say that today. It's a good show today, and I know how I'm going to vote on the Treasurer. No, correct?
No.
That's correct.
No. No, it should be yes, though, isn't it? I mean,
don't confuse them. Don't confuse them.
Okay, no. Hey, I got to tell you this, Devil. If Dallet doesn't win, I think I said that right. I'll have a little hope for the great state I live in, because with Scotto, you really don't have any rule or law. He just does whatever he wants to do. And for me, it's having Dallet on there. It's about maybe having a union, maybe some gun laws, a little balance of power. So I sure hope she wins tomorrow, and I don't know. I guess I can end and say, God, I hope the young people go out to vote, not just the grumpy old people. Well, they get their marching orders, and off to the polls they go, and they check, GOP. It's no matter what. They don't care. They just check it. It's an amazing deal.
Paul, got to turn this state blue. I know it's a nonpartisan race, but vote Dallet on the ballot. Vote no. We want a state treasurer. Thank you, Tom Mellonzi. Thank you, Tom Bennett from Teamsters Local 200. Thank you, Tom Perez. Hashtag DNC MKE 2020. He, of course, the DNC chair. Thank you, Judge Rebecca Dallet. Good luck tomorrow. Hope it's a celebration party. I'll be there. And thank you, Jack Voight, former Wisconsin State Treasurer. Tune in tomorrow. Show 3001 will be better than this one. Dom Garrison teasing.
What would you say you do here?
I have no idea. How about
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts, and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Matt Rothschild here from the Wisconsin